Hello everyone. Today I will give you basic understanding of financial adjustment that we require at the end of financial year. This topic is only for those students who are quite familiar with the basic understanding of accounts and they already know how to prepare trial balance. They are good in preparing journal entries. Their concepts are clear that how we decide which account should be debited and which account should be credited, and they know the basic accounting cycle that we start accounting with the help of first recording transactions in journal, then we prepare ledgers, and then with the help of the ledger balances we prepare this trial balance. So I'm selecting a question in which various informations are given. Some are appearing on the debit side of the trial balance and some appearing on the credit side of the trial balance. Being a basic accounting student, you should know that all assets and expenses should appear on the debit side, and all liabilities, capital, and revenue should appear on the credit side. Though student, this is possible that some titles which are taken as contra revenue or contra expenses might appear on the debit or credit side, but we will deal it in a comfortable way. Don't worry about that one. So first, I'm giving you a food of thought. Just suppose if I give you a transaction that a business paid rent expense rupees 5,000 and ask you that what entry you will prepare with the help of uh, this amount. So you can think that you can easily pass this entry. Quite simple. Paid rent expense rupees 5,000. So think what entry is possible. I think you can pass the entry. Giving you a pause so that you can decide that the entry should be rent expense should be debit by 5,000 and cash should be credited by 5,000. I don't think that you will find any problem in the preparation of this entry. Right? So rent expense is debited and cash credited. Now, these are the basic concepts that should be in your mind. And if you are not quite comfortable with these concepts, so go back to the basic understanding. And again, see that how you prepare basic journal entries. You should know that if you are rendering services to someone uh, and that person is paying you amount, then what entry is possible. You should be aware that if you have to record an expense and right now you just simply receive an invoice and you are thinking that okay, no problem, I'll pay it after some time, then what entry should be recorded over there? If these kind of things are clear in your mind, then you can do this chapter in a much better understanding. Otherwise it would be quite difficult for you to understand. Now look at the trial balance. This business prepared this trial balance, and according to their understanding, the trial balance is okay. You have a debit balance of 131 and you have a credit balance of 131. So you are satisfied that okay, all the informations are available. But after preparing this trial balance, if I show you, just giving you an imaginary condition in business, if I show you that you are adding prepaid rent of 6,000, but I say that okay, you paid it 1 month back, and now after 1 month, uh, prepaid will not remain 6,000 because we have already used 1 month rent. So you will say, yes, then the amount should not be 6,000. If I say that you are paying 1,000 per month, then the advances should remain 5,000, right? In a similar way, look this one. You're writing here that interest expense is 500. If I say that another demand is coming from the bank and 500 is also committed to pay, of course we didn't pay, but our actual expense for this year is interest expense is not 500. Actually, the expense is for 1,000. 500 we paid and 500 is still due. Look another example. Salaries expense is showing 8,000. But being a owner of the business, you are familiar that you are the total amount that you pay to your employees are not 8,000, it should be 10,000. So you can simply say that the 2,000 amount is still due and you didn't pay. So student, reminding you again, according to your preparation of accounts, you are satisfied that prepaid is the right information that you presented in this trial balance. But I say that now from this prepaid, some amount has expired and this amount should not be 6,000. It should be, let's say, should be 5,000. I say that interest expense, of course, we paid 500 and 500 more we will pay. So that expense should also be part of this year. So I'm making objection that this amount should be 1,000. I say the total salary expense for the year should not be 8,000. It should be 10,000. Of course, we didn't pay that 2,000 amount, but the 2,000 amount is still due and we are planning to pay it in the coming month, but this will remain part of the expenses of this year. So this amount I am claiming should be 10,000. Now carefully see, your trial balance is showing that you have a commission income of, let's say, 2,500. But I know that I have already given an invoice and that party will pay me in the coming month, let's say 500 amount. So if I am also expecting that 500 more I will receive from my clients, it means that technically speaking, I have to say that my income is 3,000. Of course, I receive 2,500 and 500 I will receive later on. It means, student, the trial balance that you prepared, trial balance is correctly showing debit and credit amount. Trial balance is providing me all the information, but some information need to be corrected. If these information need to be corrected, then whatever uh, entries you will make, whatever process you will do, that process is technically called adjustment. So what is meant by adjustment? Adjustment means after preparing trial balance, the new information that is appearing and that are relevant for this year, and you are thinking that if we do not provide these informations in this trial balance, so of course trial balance is correctly specifying the debit and credit amount, but the information that this trial balance is presenting is not correct. The amount that is presented in this trial balance are misleading, and these informations are not providing you the accurate information that should appear and that should be used for the preparation of a financial statement, or the information should be communicated to outsiders, etc. So this is the entire concept which we will use when we are preparing adjustments, and when the entries that you need to adjust these accounts are technically called adjusting entries. So whatever adjustment you made at the end of the year, we call it adjusting entries. So check back again this concept. I say that you paid rent expense 5,000 and I ask you to prepare entry entry was quite easy for you to prepare. As you can see, entry is rent expense debit and cash credit. But suppose at the end of the year, I give you this information that rent is due but not paid by firm. Rupee, let's say dollar 400. Now this is the new situation that is arising. Rent is due but not paid by firm. Now the question is, I have to report it in accounts. But the problem is, can I pass this kind of entry? So student, carefully understand my point. If your basic is not clear, you don't know under what condition we use title of cash. You don't know under what condition liability will be created. Then student, this topic will create problem for you. So if you have to be uh, make a good practice in this one, if you have to improve this topic, if you have to develop a more better uh, concept in this chapter, then your basic entries should be clear. You should attend those lectures in which basic entries was discussed, and you should practice that one. Then student, this topic will be quite challenging for you, but this topic will give you more better information and will improve your concepts a lot. So look, when I say that the business is paying rent is due but not paid by firm 400. So the question is, should I record this entry by this title? Should I record like this, that rent expense debit? Of course, it will be debit by 400 because business incurred. But the question is, which title should be credited? Can I credit cash over here? No. Why not cash? Because student, currently I am stating in this transaction that rent is due but not paid. Since this rent is not paid, so I cannot use this head of account. Then which head of account should be used? So student, now I will use rent payable and will be credited by 400. So student, this rent payable is showing that we are uh, committed to pay, but right now we didn't pay this amount. This kind of entry, when we record at the end of the year, that adjust your trial balance and give you more better information about your business. So these entries are called adjusting entries. So when we prepare adjusting entries, we prepare adjusting entries at the end of the year. We check accounting information. We see that what informations are relevant that need to be adjusted at the end of the year. And one of the transactions that I'm showing right now is showing that certain expenses not paid by the firm. Student, this kind of transaction that I am showing here, we in accounting call it accrued expenses. So accrued expenses means we are talking about the expenses that are due on the business, but it was not paid so far. That's why we recorded with this entry that rent expense is debited and rent payable is credited. Suppose giving you similar kind of entry with new title. Salary is due on business. $700. But is still outstanding. So now the question is, what entry should be prepared for it? So student, if you check this statement, can I say that we are still facing the same situation? Salary is due on business, $700, but it's still outstanding, means we didn't pay it. So whenever any expense is due and we didn't pay it, so technically this kind of expense is called accrued expenses. And whenever we have accrued expense situation, it means that we are technically saying that this expense should be recorded, but of course we are not paying it. So we will pass one entry, carefully check the title that I am using here, salaries, expenses, debit by 700, and salaries. What title should I use? Salaries payable credited by 700. I hope that these two entries will give you an idea, will give you a concept that under what condition we technically say that we are facing accrued expenses. Giving you another example. Suppose I say that utility bill outstanding dollar 350. So what does it mean? So should I say that I don't need to record it? No, I must record it because bills are outstanding. It means that this is committed by the firm. We have to pay it. But right now, of course, we are not paying it. So if we are not paying it, so should I not record it? Of course, I can't do it because this kind of information will mislead the investor and other people who will use my financial statement. So I need to report it. But now the question is, if any expense is still outstanding, can I classify it as accrued expenses? Yes, because accrued expense means any expense due but not paid by firm. So what entry is possible? Now think first, then I'll present over here. Yes, you can try. Even some of the students who will be attending this lecture, it's quite easy for them to prepare this entry now. So yes, you can try. Think again. Might be you can prepare one or two titles. Utilities expenses debit and utilities payable credit by 350. So student, utilities expenses debit and utilities payable credit. I hope that this entire exercise, which I started from a simple payment of rent, then I started to give you the idea that how adjustment will be recorded. You can review the lecture again just to develop your concept that how we work on adjustment. And then student, in the entire this structure, I am dealing with one concept which is highlighting here, that whenever we are discussing accrued expenses, what does it mean? Due but not paid by firm. These are the three examples I demonstrated here just to give you a idea. Now student, you can make way different entries with the help of this concept without any problem. I hope that you will enjoy and you will give me positive feedback after attending this lecture so that I can further motivate myself uh, to give you more better ideas about the accounting and how to make it simple and understandable as compared to put it in a difficult manner. Now I'm giving you one more example, which is quite easy. And after that, I will close this lecture because I will be waiting for your feedback. If your feedback will help me to prepare further that how various topics might be recorded over it. Student depreciation, as we discussed in the financial statement, depreciation apply on uh, all the fixed assets other than land, which you use in your business, and you say that some value of those assets through due to wear and tear and due to usage of that, the value is declining, and you have to report it as an expense. Now look your trial balance. You have an equipment of 32,800, and look that you don't have any depreciation expense. It means that you are using this equipment, but you are not recording any expense which is showing that you are using it. So I have to report depreciation charges on all the fixed assets that I'm using other than land. uh, Taking example from the question, if I write that we are recording depreciation on equipment, just assume rupee dollar 400. So this is the situation I'm facing. We have to report that this much depreciation has been recorded at the end of the year on equipment. Again, check. Your equipment value is 32,800. You have to say that this equipment of 32,800, it has been depreciated by the business in this year by the amount of $400. So how can I pass adjusting entry? Adjusting entry for this one is very simple, and the adjusting entry will be depreciation expense debit and student accumulated depreciation credit. You can mention on the debit credit side on which assets you are applying it. So this is the entry that we are preparing. Depreciation expense debit by 400 and accumulated depreciation credit by 400. So whenever question is giving you any information related to depreciation and you are interested to pass an adjusting entry, then you can recall in your mind that we have to report it as an expense. But since we are not paying for this expense, that's why we are not recording it by depreciation expense and cash. We recorded it by depreciation expense and credited accumulated depreciation. Student, another way through which this entry might appear on your question. Question says that office equipment depreciated by, let's say, 5%. If the information is given like this, then do you think that it will create any problem for you? Think how can we convert this information into amount? Yes, you are right. What we will do, we will go back to the trial balance. We will see that what is the value of office equipment. Whatever value of office equipment is given, we will apply this 5% on that amount. So keep it in your mind. I'm showing you here. Office equipment is 32,800. So student, if I take this 32,800 here and take 5% of this amount, the amount is 1640. So again check. I'm taking office equipment value, which is 32,800. 5% will be converted into decimal 0.05. So the resulting amount is 1640. Once you student, you computed this amount, then again this entry is similar to what you recorded here. The only thing which is quite simple in this transaction is that depreciation was given in terms of amount. $400 was given, you simply put this in terms of debit and credit. Over here, the only difficulty or only thing that is changing is that rather than giving amount, they are providing you depreciation in terms of percentage. So percentage will be applied on the cost of the item. So look, office equipment is given 32,800. We apply and the amount is 1640. So again, student, I will pass the same entry. So I am taking the same title, but now the amount will be. I hope that my today lecture will give you a basic understanding of adjustment, and once your this lecture will be clear, then student I will be very much happy if you give me feedback on this lecture, the way I give you the idea. Once your feedback will come to me, then I will plan that okay, the way I am trying to explain it is quite handy and my students can easily get the concept. And then according to your feedback, I'll prepare this demonstration by taking various other transactions. Up to then, uh, enjoy your time. Thank you very much.